Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. My name's Cody Bills. Today is the 15th, it's a Thursday. We had export sales out early this morning. We had NOPA crush numbers out at around 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. But before we get into those, let's turn it over to the iPad and see where we closed off the day. Corn down a penny, soybeans down 17.5 cents, and wheat in Chicago trading down 3 3/4 cents. Now we did get a nice export sale out this morning. It was for 127,000 metric tons of old crop corn to Japan here, so that was very positive. And I think one of the things that helped lift us here in the earlier part of the trade, I know that in the overnight session going into that morning pause, everything was trading higher here, kind of following through on that bounce that we saw in the second half of yesterday's trade session after we bounced off some support there for soybeans and some support for corn. Now keep in mind here that we had export sales out this morning. Let's see if that helped the market. You can see corn coming out at 818,000 metric tons. That was well above analyst expectations of between 550 and 750,000 metric tons. This was positive. This helped contribute to some of the buying pressure that we saw early on in the session. This practically doubled last week's export sales and brought us to 63% sold compared to where the USDA expects us to be at the end of the year. So all in all, this was pretty bullish news here for corn, kind of surprising the market a little bit. Soybeans here coming out at 1.133 million metric tons. That's very positive as well, beating analyst expectations of between 700 to 900,000 metric tons. This is positive to see. So we had corn, soybeans, very positive. Wheat came out with only 284,000 metric tons. That's within analyst expectations. It really wasn't much of an improvement over last week. It was just kind of mediocre sales here. We had Egypt's GASC issuing a tender on Wednesday. Unfortunately, the U.S. and Russian wheat weren't even offered. We saw 240,000 metric tons of French wheat go to that GASC sale. So really nothing there to support the wheat market, which continues to trade lower. I think this is the 7th day we've traded lower consecutively. Wheat is just getting continuously bombarded here. If we don't see some stronger export sales, it's likely we'll continue to move lower. Now let's talk a little bit about the NOPA crush numbers. This is an important report that came out in the middle of the day, in the middle of the trade session. You can see that soybean crush came out at 165.383 million bushels. Now this is all right. This is actually 0.001 million bushels off of the highest ever soybean crush. But when you compare that to the expectations going into this report, we were expecting to see 166.9 million bushels crushed for the month of December. The fact that we missed that mark, we came in at 165.383, which practically ties December of 2013's record crush. It is still disappointing because when you look at the amount of soybeans that came out of the field here, you would expect this to really ramp up the crush, and we just didn't have that. And that helped contribute to the weakness that we saw in soybeans throughout the rest of the day. Take a look at the daily March soybean chart. You'll notice I drew a really big box here. This is the range we've been trading in really since the end of October till now. You'll see we've tried this 991 support here a couple times in the last 2 days. We closed right on it today. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some choppy price action here as we work through it. I don't necessarily think this is going to be a big support level now. I feel as though with the WASDE report coming out, having higher than expected ending stocks, with South American production continuing to be positive here, with the USDA revising their Brazil forecast for soybeans up 1.5 million metric tons, and when you have just the overall weather out of South America, I think there's a good chance we could continue to see pressure here in the soybean complex. So I wouldn't be surprised if this support level gets broken. I don't necessarily think it will get broken tomorrow. We could find some support. It is a Friday, but I think here in the next week there's a good chance we go through it. Who knows, it may happen tomorrow. Now let's talk a little bit about corn here because it was very interesting. We had a little bit of a double bottom here for that March corn chart. you'll see what I'm looking at right now is that daily March corn chart. We had support at 376. You'll notice we double bottomed on it. Let's get a little closer look. Nice thing about the Grain Hedge trading platform is it's very easy to change the period that you view in the chart. So what I'm showing you here is the daily chart. Let's take a look at the 60-minute chart. Each one of these bars represents 1 hour worth of price activity. You'll notice that we touched on this 176 twice throughout the day. I wouldn't be surprised. So right now at this point, we know this is a critical support level. Now, we bounced off of it. So in the overnight session, we may drift a little bit higher. But let's pay close attention to the open here tomorrow. If we go through that 376 area on the March contract, I think there's a very good chance that we could impulse lower here. You can see how critical this support is. Other than that, guys, that wraps up today's show. If you have any questions about what I talked about, or if you want to get these sort of charts on your own PC, go to grainhedge.com, take a 14-day free trial. I'll give you a walkthrough, show you how to build the custom indicators, show you how to put volume on there, and be able to view these charts at your home office. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll see you here Friday for the weekly wrap-up.